Here.
Mixulic.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Santa Cruz.
Here.
And Mayor Romero is absent excused.
Before we go to item 2, the city attorney will go over the rules of decorum for mayor and council meetings. Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just a second here. Arizona's open meeting laws provide that members of the public may attend and listen to the proceedings during tonight's public meeting of the mayor and council. Arizona law also allows the mayor and council to enforce rules and procedures for public attendance of the meeting to ensure orderly behavior and to prevent unnecessary interference with the public meeting. Here are the rules that apply. The rules require decorum and orderly conduct by the members of the audience. No person attending the meeting shall engage in conduct that disrupts or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting, including any statements or conduct that interrupts the persons who might be addressing the mayor and council or that disrupts the discussions of the mayor and council. The mayor has the authority to ensure compliance with the rules of orderly conduct. If disorderly or disruptive conduct continues after a warning, and this is that first warning, the mayor may direct the removal of persons from the chambers and/or recess the meeting itself. If disruptive behavior makes it necessary to clear the chambers, the persons who disrupted the meeting will not be allowed to return to the chambers for the remainder of tonight's meeting. As a final note, please be aware that interfering with or preventing this lawful public meeting from being carried out in an orderly manner not only violates the rules of participation, but also violates Title 13 of the Arizona Revised Statutes.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Item 2.
Invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and appointments to boards, committees, and commissions.
The invocation will be given by Reverend Un Young Ko, First United Methodist Church. After the invocation, I ask that you remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's take a moment to pause and to center ourselves in gratitude and hope for the work ahead. Gracious and holy God, we give thanks for this day and for all who have gathered here to serve the people of Tucson. Grant your spirit of wisdom and discernment to the council members and everyone participating in this meeting. Where there are differences, let there be respect and understanding. Where there is uncertainty, grant clarity and courage. May the decisions made tonight lead to greater justice, peace, and well-being for every neighbor in our community. Bless each person here with integrity, humility, and a heart to serve the common good. And may our shared work reflect compassion and care for those who are most vulnerable among us. With gratitude and hope, we entrust this meeting to your guidance. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2D.
Appointments to boards, committees, and commissions.
City Manager's Communication Number 349 dated November 5th is received into and made part of the record. Are there any personal appointments to be made at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 3.
Mayor and council report, summary of current events.
City Manager's Communication Number 339 dated November 5th is received into and made part of the record. This time has been scheduled to allow members of the Mayor and Council to report on current events. There are to be current events of activities within the community, not position statements on policy issues. Does any council member have anything to report at this time? I am going to start with Councilmember Lee and then move on through the dais. Councilmember Lee, do you have anything to add?
Thank you. Just a quick congratulations to Councilmember Dahl, Selena Barajas, and Miranda Schubert for your election results last night. Excited to continue working with you, Kevin, and working with our 2 new colleagues. And that's all I have for tonight.
Yes. Thank you, Councilmember Lee. I'm going to kick it over to Councilmember Cunningham.
Firstly, Well, we lost 3 students this week, and so I can't, I know I'm not alone, that the whole community extends their condolences to those families. And I'm about to read something about another Tucsonan we lost this week, is Ernesto Portillo Sr. And he was pretty familiar in Tucson to generations speaking of generations of Spanish-speaking Tucsonans. He was our radio and television broadcaster in the only Spanish station we had for a long time, and also a newspaper. He was also a newspaper columnist. He passed away this Sunday, surrounded by his family. For those of us who don't speak Spanish, remember that the authoritative, his voice that came through the radio was so gentle and authoritative. He spent his career in Juarez before coming to Tucson in 1953. He worked for local radio and television, and he earned a spot in the Arizona Broadcasters Hall of Fame in 2019. His work outside broadcast included working with La Frontera, the YMCA, and the Kino Mission Tours. Condolences out to his wife, Julieta, who's a community stalwart in her own right, and then Neto, who actually works for the city of Tucson in our housing department. So I wanted to give a shout out to, it's been a crazy year with all the people we've lost, including my dad, and losing Ernesto is another piece to that. On another thing, I've tried to be cute about this, but there's really nothing cute about it. There's a government shutdown going on, and in the past it's 2 weeks, and you think whatever. You never know what's going to happen at this point. The federal administration is just really, really unpredictable. So we're really worried out of my office for some of our refugee families who received SNAP cards. They're not going to receive it. We also went to the elementary schools in our ward and partnered with them and identified the SNAP recipients in our ward as well. And then we also talked to the Passport Center and TSA for the federal employees who are still going to work and have not received a paycheck for 3 weeks. So we have a food drive going on. We'll be taking donations at my office at 7820 East Broadway. We're looking for those non-perishable items like pasta, cereal, canned protein, canned vegetables, canned fruits. That's been really helpful. But come Thursday, we're going to take perishable items. We're looking for bread, fresh produce, and then we've also partnered. A big shout out to Shamrock Penske Trucking. We're going to be able to supply probably a gallon of milk to each family that comes in as well. We're also going to have shout out to U-Haul, who gave us 400 boxes so that everybody's going to get a nice organized box and a true meal. We're going to take those donations all the way through Friday at 2 o'clock. On Friday at 2 o'clock, if you'd like to volunteer and help boxes together, we'll be doing that from 2 until how long it takes us into Friday evening. Distribution is until 1:30 the next day. So what happened with that was we have a monthly hazardous material program at Ward 2. So that's going to happen in the morning per usual. And then at 1:30, we're going to do a drive-through distribution, and we'll have walk-up distribution as well. Our goal is about 400 boxes. I think we're going to get there, but we still need more stuff. No more beans. We have plenty of beans. A little more rice, but the other things I said, pasta sauce is kind of lagging a little bit. So if you want to help out, you can contact my office at 791-4687. You can drop food off at 7820 East Broadway. And it's been a really cool community effort. All the elementary schools are also collecting food in Ward 2. So we hope we can deliver at least some light of hope to some folks that really deserve it this next week.
Thank you, Councilmember Cunningham. Councilmember Dahl.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm not going to do any verbal announcements, but we do a weekly email newsletter. You can sign up to get it sent to you, or you can look at old issues on our website. We have a lot of events that are happening in Ward 3. It's the time of year where there's lots of events and a lot of programs that you can find out about in our newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Dahl. Councilmember Perez.
Thank you. So kind of picking up where Paul left off, obviously we lost 3 students this week. Their names were Josiah, Sophia, and Katya. These were members of our community that came here for very exciting academic journeys, and unfortunately we lost them to something that was preventable, both in terms of, I think, our streets, as well as prevention and the battle that we have with folks who are drinking and driving. And so want to extend my condolences to our student community. I know that we have quite a few of you that are here today, but also their families, both here in Tucson as well as beyond the state of Arizona. This one is pretty personal. What I haven't shared is actually this week, my brother was also hit by a car. And unfortunately, he's not going to be able to walk for quite some time. And so, I think that is something that hit close to home personally this week. And it's something that I think that we all take very seriously. And so I'm glad to see that there's action underway that was already underway when it comes to Euclid. But I think there's larger things at hand that I know that council will continue to advocate for, which leads me to my next and lighter point. I want to extend a congratulations to Selena and Miranda, as well as Kevin on his reelection. Before mayor and council had made the decision not to appoint someone who was in the race for the Ward 5 seat in the long haul, I had called Selena and said, "Are you going to jump in? Are you going to do it?" And Selena told me, "No, I'm building something." And I think that is so powerful and so beautiful. And I think makes me all the more excited for when she comes into this role truly of service to the community. So special congratulations to her in that respect. This weekend, we're also going to be doing El Pueblo 50. It's going to be a public exhibition as well as major celebration at the El Pueblo Neighborhood Center. It's going to be on November 8th from 2 to 5 p.m. with an open house and 5 to 9 p.m. at the reception. There's going to be free food, lots of exciting things, and I hope you will consider joining us out there. I think that'll be it.
Councilmember Ulick?
Thank you, Mayor. I too want to congratulate the incoming council members, Selena and Miranda and Kevin. It's great to know that you'll be able to continue to serve this community, which you do very well. So thank you. We talked about an issue that I know many of you are here to talk about tonight, and I just also want to acknowledge the horrific and tragic loss of Katya and Sophia and Josiah. And looking out into the audience and seeing so many students, I'm assuming young members of our community, the loss is just beyond words to even try and convey. We are working with the Department of Transportation to take immediate action and also to accelerate the planned investments in lights, a crosswalk with a hawk, et cetera, at Euclid and Second. But the main thing I want to say is thank you for being here. Thank you for voicing your ideas. Thank you for making sure that we stay on track. My successor, Miranda Schubert, will be your partner in making sure that this gets done. So I appreciate you participating and being here this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Ulick. I too want to offer my condolences to the U of A community, to the students for this tragic event. We lose too many of our young people to vehicular violence on our streets, and we need to do better. So my condolences to, again, the student body and also to the families. Also my condolences to the Portillo family. We lost a community giant, and we continue to see that legacy from that family. Being such shining examples in our community. So sending our love to the family. I wanted to also congratulate our incoming council members, Selena Barajas and Miranda Schubert. It was a great night last night celebrating their election and also getting to serve another term with council member Kevin Dahl. I know running for re-election is not easy when you hold the position and trying to campaign. So You would have never been able to tell that you were, juggling both things, Councilmember Dahl. So thank you for your commitment to serve our community. I also wanted to congratulate my Chief of Staff, Gabriela Barrias Longoria. She had her baby girl early this morning, so she's going to be taking some time off, but it's always, in the middle of so much mourning, something that connects us to why we do the work that we do. So congratulations, Gabriela. I also am working with Councilmember Perez on the celebration of the El Pueblo Neighborhood Center's 50th anniversary and really encouraging our community to show up. It's going to be a day, full of community stories, art, and celebration. The schedule of events will be from 1 to 2. There'll be a tree dedication, from 2 to 5 an open house, from 5 to 9 a celebration. And this will be at the El Pueblo Neighborhood Center, 101 West Irvington Road, Building 1. We know so we're celebrating the 50 years and also looking at these community centers, not as these like static spaces that community fought and won, but also how do they meet the needs of our community today. So there's been a lot of visioning happening there for the past 5 years. So excited to share that with the community. On Sunday, November 9th from 9 to 11, we have our monthly BCC Burros ride out of the Ward 1 office. Come ride with us and enjoy free burritos from Los Jarritos. We have music, community joy as we pedal together along West Side neighborhood. So we meet at the Ward 1 office, 940 West Alameda Street. In the winters, we meet at from 9 to 11 a.m. And then on Friday, November 14th from 5 to 6:30 p.m., Tucson's Mocha will be hosting the opening reception and talk for survival and resistance, remembering the Southside's environmental justice movement. This free community event features historian Lydia Otero in conversation with Jane Kay, the journalist who helped confirm what the Southside community knew for decades. Their water was poisoned by TCE. Together, they'll discuss the past, present, and future of Tucson's aquifer. Join in for this evening of art, conversation, and food. Again, at the Tucson Museum of Contemporary Art at 265 South Church Avenue. Item 4, go ahead.
City Manager's Report, Summary of Current Events.
City Manager's Communication Number 340, dated November 5th, is received into and made part of the record. This time has been scheduled to allow the City Manager to report on current events. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. A couple of things for tonight. One is with the ongoing federal government shutdown and the loss of SNAP benefits, many Tucsonans are experiencing even more food insecurity. So our staff has created a list of resources for food assistance on our homepage at tucsonaz.gov. And community members can also call our 311 for information on food and other assistance programs. I'd like to thank Governor Katie Hobbs, who announced that $1.5 million would be deployed to Arizona food banks. We don't have the details yet on how much of that will arrive at Tucson's bank, but we're staying in close contact on that allocation of dollars. And in addition, as indicated by some of the members of the council, there's a number of food drives ongoing. And we'd like to thank Tucsonans for pitching in and helping. Mayor Romero and I would also encourage those of you that are able to assist with the Southern Arizona Food Bank. And finally, I'd like to thank Tucson voters for last night. There were a number of good news pieces. One that didn't get as much attention, but it's certainly of tremendous value, is that the voters approved our general plan update, Plan Tucson 2025, with nearly 63% of the voters in support. That gives us a comprehensive roadmap for the future, and I'm proud of the team that put that all together and brought to the voters something that was in alignment with their values, such that they were able to come out and support it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, City Manager. Item 5.
Liquor license applications.
City Manager's Communication Number 350, dated November 5th, is received into and made part of the record. Ms. Clerk, please read the liquor licenses agenda.
Your Honor, on the evening's agenda, we have 1 application for person location transfer and 3 special event applications. All applications are in compliance with city requirements, so an appropriate motion would be to forward item 5B1 and 5C3 through 5C 5C1 through 5C3 to the State Liquor Board with a recommendation of approval.
So moved, Your Honor.
Seconded.
Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Lee, did she say aye?
I said aye. I was
Okay.
just a little early.
Okay, all right, so motion passes by a vote of 6-0. Item 6,
Call to the audience.
Ms. Clerk, do you have any announcements?
Yes, at this time, the public is allowed to address the mayor and council on any issue except for items scheduled for a public hearing. Call to the audience will last 30 minutes, and speakers are limited to 3-minute presentations. The green light will turn on when you begin speaking. It will turn yellow and beep when you have 30 seconds left of your allotted time. When your 3 minutes are up, the light will turn red and the timer will begin beeping. If that happens, please immediately conclude your remarks.
All right, we have a couple of cards here. We want to we have 30 minutes allocated for call to the audience. We're going to try to get through as many of the speaker cards as we can. Typically, we ask that if one of the speakers has already made the points or the remarks that you were going to do, if you can keep yours brief to allow somebody else the opportunity to also speak. So I'm going to be calling 2 people at a time just so that you're ready to go. So our first speaker is going to be Vivek Barathan, and if I totally butcher your name, please, please repeat it. I hate this part of calling people's names. And then after that, it's going to be Linus Friedman. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Hello. My name is Vivek. I'm here from District 5. I'm a Tucson resident. I'm here about an article that ran in the Arizona Mirror about TPD using AI surveillance called Cobweb Technologies for its Tangle's open source intelligence and sharing that with the federal. You can't make up that, like somebody got paid to make up that name. I can't believe this shit. And sharing that with the feds. I'm really thankful for Mayor Romero's fiery speech at the No Kings protest. I also saw that she did it under the watchful eye of a TPD drone. And I understand that there are big differences in this room about how we'd like the city to approach local law enforcement. I also understand that there's a little less daylight and more consensus that the federal government is abusing its powers. That local law enforcement data that is being collected by surveillance mechanisms is accessible to the feds until it can be proven that it isn't. That's the assumption we have to make. And therefore, because surveillance data is being used by the federal government and ICE to round up immigrants, anyone who looks like an immigrant, and will soon be mobilized against dissenters, I am demanding that the City Council roll back TPD's use of local surveillance tools. They will absolutely be used to crack down on dissent and violate our First Amendment rights. My heartfelt condolences to the students who are here from the KMP student radio family. And I really hope not to be back before the new council is seated. So Council Members Perez and Ulick, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Vivek. Linus Friedman. And after Linus, we have Fallon Otto.
Hello, my name is Linus Friedman. I'm a student at the University of Arizona. I study sustainable built environments and traffic safety. So I wanted to come out here and speak on the recent tragic accident that occurred at Euclid and 2nd, and give my condolences, especially for all the people in the audience who know them, Katya, Sophia, and Josiah. And I wanted to also say that, as a lot of the comments from the petition that was put out there have said, this has been an issue for years, and it's unfortunate that this had to occur for, people to speak out and for it to be heard by the city, that this was truly an issue that needed to have action now. And this is an issue across Tucson. As many of you might know, Tucson is the third worst city in the nation for per capita pedestrian deaths, and that's frankly not acceptable. And I believe the city could do a lot more, being a front runner for Vision Zero, and really pushing harder, because this is very pertinent to the city. And lastly, as well, I would also like to say thank you to DTM for the work that has been done and the quick action in kind of responding to this crash. Both the quick things that will be implemented and the sort of longer term changes that are being hastened with the pace of them. I would also like to say I think it's also important to think more holistically about this road and this intersection and what we want it to be. It's a major arterial that is right next to the university, as Speedway and Campbell also are, but it's bordering on the one walkable shop district that we have next to the university. And do we really want it to be a fast-paced arterial that encourages cars to go quickly, or should we be looking at things that would reduce speeds, keep people safe, whether that be something like this Tucson infrastructure that's going in, or other things at other intersections, like First and Euclid, which is equally as horrible of an intersection for people to cross at. The whole stretch, I believe, just needs to be rethought holistically about what can be done. So thank you.
Thank you, Linus. Next, we have Fallon, and after that, we have Justine Wilkin.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Fallon, and I'm a student of the Sustainable Built Environments degree program at the university and a member of the Students for Sustainable Cities Club on campus. Hundreds of students cross Euclid and Second every day without the ability to use safe crosswalk infrastructure. Last week, 3 University of Arizona students lost their lives. Josiah Santos, Sophia Tortel, and Katia Castillo Mendoza. They were killed at that crosswalk, and it was not just an accident, it was a traffic violence. At night, it is too dark for vehicles to see anybody clearly, and there are no hawk crosswalks, Toucan infrastructure, and cars routinely speed well over 30 miles per hour. In short, this crosswalk is nothing but treacherous. We started a petition that now has over 10,500 signatures from community members and people around the country. It is important to make clear that this communication comes directly to the City Council and represents the university and Tucson communities. Foot traffic on and around campus is far more significant than most areas around the city. And as an urban design student, I acknowledge that safety around Tucson must be prioritized for all pedestrians. To anyone here tonight connected to Katia, Josiah, and Sophia, friends, family, loved ones, we want to acknowledge your unimaginable loss. We are here to support your voices and your grief. This tragedy has shaken our campus and city in unimaginable ways. We appreciate the city's response so far, but we need urgency. Lives depend on it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Fallon. So we have Justine Wilkin, and then after that, Monir Garbi.
Hello, my name is Justine Wilkin. I am a resident of the city of Tucson and a 2025 graduate of the University of Arizona. And Josiah Santos, one of the 3 victims in Thursday's fatal hit and run near campus, was my good friend. He, his girlfriend Sophia, and her roommate Katia were all killed in the crosswalk at Euclid and 2nd Street. And I could spend my time talking about how amazing they were because they really were, but that is not why I am here. I am here to express my outrage at the city of Tucson and its Department of Transportation for the negligence that allowed this crosswalk to kill my friend with the help of an impaired driver. You can ask anyone on campus and they will tell you that crosswalk is terrifying, okay? I walked it so many times, very regularly when I was a student. And as a pedestrian, you have zero faith that you're not gonna be mowed down the second you step off the curb. And that is because for a best case scenario driver, you have very little warning that you're even approaching a crosswalk and none at all that someone might actually be in it, and doubly so at nighttime. By the time you realize this fact, most of the time you've already blown halfway through it. And with worst case scenario drivers, I can tell you from personal experience that stopping at this crosswalk is considered optional. But you already know the dangers of this crosswalk. You've known it for a while, 2 years at least. In a statement from the Department of Transportation regarding the safety and involvement of this crosswalk, they said they had been, quote, in the planning phase since 2023 for this intersection, end quote. For at least 2 years, it has been known to the city of Tucson that this crosswalk is woefully inadequate for pedestrian safety, and yet in the time that I was a student and in the time since, not a single thing has changed about it. And let's talk about pedestrian safety in Tucson for a second as a whole, using that planning period as a reference. According to the GIS data from the city of Tucson from 2023 to present, the TPD has documented 81 vehicle pedestrian collisions, which resulted in a fatal injury. That is just the collisions, not necessarily the amount of people who were injured in that. 27 in 2023, 30 in 2024, and 24 so far in 2025. Additionally, I have found reports that at least one more occurred just this Monday that has not yet been documented. To residents and city officials alike, these numbers should be absolutely unacceptable. This is the city we live in. These are the streets that we walk. This is the safety that we assume when we traverse them. I can't help but feel like if in the planning phase where officials talked and talked about what they should do, if anyone had gotten around to the actual doing and made that crosswalk anything other than the nightmare that it is, Josiah would still be here, Sophia would still be here, and Katya would still be here. So while I am grateful that the Department of Transportation is now prioritizing Euclid and 2nd, I am mad as hell that my friend had to die for this to happen. I'm calling now for the installation of a hawk flashing beacon along with 10,000 other people who signed a petition on change.org, set up by these people. And I'm calling for it to happen now. I thank you for all that you do for this city. And at the same time, I'm calling on all of us to do better. Councilmember Ulick, you said that if we can avert tragedies like this, we should go above and beyond. And so I await eagerly to see that your above and beyond is the same as mine. Remember Josiah, remember Sophia and Katya, and remember that when students walk to university, they are walking towards their future. Thank you.
Mayor,
Thank you, Justine. Monier, and after Monier, Reyes Suarez.
My name is Munir. Munir Garbia. I've been living on 5th Street for 25 years. We have a frontage road in front of us. The city sent us a card about a year and a half ago showing us what they're going to do, putting a sidewalk, putting a bicycle lane, lights and everything. We were happy with it, but they never told us that they're going to trim our frontage road from 20 feet to 13 feet, 0.9. So it's almost 14 feet. Now we have no place for our visitors or for us to park in our frontage road. And when another vehicle is passing, we cannot pass. I was told by the city that we can go over the sidewalk, drive over the sidewalk to pass the other vehicle. Our frontage, our side there, we have about 15 houses there, okay, and all of them said that the city never told us that they're going to shrink or reduce the frontage road that we have. And I've been talking to the city about it, and it just, I'm not getting anywhere. This is going to, first of all, also reduce the value of our property, since there is no parking in front of us. We have only whatever we can park in our property inside, maybe a couple of cars, that's it. But otherwise, you cannot park there. We have most of the people whom they live there in that frontage road are seniors. We have fire department and ambulance come there like once a month or a month and a half. And also we have a group home that a sun van come all the time. I almost got in a fight with one of the drivers there. I said, just move inside. He wouldn't move inside. There's no place for him to move. So anyway, I'm hoping that to give some consideration to our daily life, how much we are going to be suffering from this frontage road, and our kids, our visitors, nobody can park there in that frontage road. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Monir. Reyes Suarez, and after Reyes, we have Enrique Vega.
Hello, Vice Mayor Santa Cruz and City Council. My name is Reyes Suarez. I live in Ward 1. To start, I want everyone to remember Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Arpaio was notorious for using his own officers to intimidate, follow, levy false charges and indictments on his supposed enemies. Basically, anyone of note who criticized him and tried to hold him accountable. The list of which were a judge, that judge's spouse, a political rival, a Maricopa County official, and a reporter. I want you to try to imagine the type of damage and tyranny someone like Joe Arpaio could have done with access to technology such as the flock cameras and other AI surveillance. The safeguards that exist have next to no protection for us in that hypothetical, and I must insist that Donald Trump is Sheriff Arpaio writ large. Congressional lawmakers in our own state can easily breach any barricades that protect us. If someone is being unnecessarily harassed by police under normal circumstances, they can sue said department for harassment and even be slapped with a restraining order. You cannot do the same thing with the flock network. There's no way to personally opt out of the program. And yes, while there's no reasonable expectation of privacy to keep you from being recorded in the public on the streets, it becomes a much different matter when it's daisy chain monitoring devices that can build the living profile of your daily activities. This is a clear Fourth Amendment violation of search and seizure. Just because it's technically an AI that is doing the searching and compiling doesn't mean it's not a violation. Some examples I'd like to give from the Auburn report from the University of Washington found that some police department cameras have been only used by the federal immigration agencies because it allowed the national lookup feature. Flock had failed to inform them that immigration forces could gain access to through this feature. What else are they not telling Tucson? In Ketchie, Kansas, an officer used flock cameras to stalk his ex-wife. Near 40% of police are admitted domestic abusers. Columbine, Colorado, use of flock cameras led the police to believe the suspect was 100% sure that there was a woman who was the suspect in a package theft incident. She had already been given summons. She used the cameras on board her own vehicle to exonerate herself. She spent weeks of her own time obtaining and piecing together footage to create a timeline to submit to the police chief to clear her name. Overuse of these under-litigated technologies is a crutch to police forces. If we don't allow our teenagers and our students to write their essays with ChatGPT, we shouldn't allow them to use the AI to do their work. Austin spent $1.2 million on flock camera softwares in its pilot program. They got 65 arrests from 113 million scans. That's around 7,300 per arrest. That's not sustainable. And I feel so bad for these students for what happened in the recent hit and run accident. These cameras did not save them. They didn't even catch the perpetrator. He turned himself in. The point is surveillance, not to reduce crime. We successfully convinced South Tucson to end their contract. You can too. Thank you.
Thank you, Reyes. Enrique Vega, and after Enrique, we have Judy Bone.
Good evening, City Council.
My name is Enrique Vega. I was born and raised here in Tucson, here in the old pueblo. My great-grandparents and grandparents were here in Arizona before it became a state. And both my parents were born here before Tucson had a population of 45,000. I'm also an undergraduate of the University of Arizona and I have a graduate certificate from NAU. I also served in the United States Marine Corps and the Marine Corps Reserve for over 8 years. I am here to acknowledge that in 2 days, it will be 33 years ago that I, and along with 100 friends, planted 53 trees on the north side of CE Rose, which today the park is called Rodeo Wash Park. I'm just going to give a little breakdown of my family, how this park became. I would like to first also thank Desert Survivors on 22nd Street who donated all the trees. It was Saturday, November 7th, 1992, with the blessings of our Tohono O'odham elder and Yaqui elder. This was to keep in touch with our traditions, culture, and languages as Indigenous people here, reflective of the Southwest and of the Americas. I was able to have all the food, money, food, and drinks donated. We had a delicious Tohono O'odham red chili fry bread meal, watermelon, and drinks. By the end of the day, we had the help of over 100 people who volunteered, and we had planted 53 trees. I took care of these trees for over 15 years, making sure that they were watered and properly trimmed. 30 years of family, community, initiative, and action, improving the quality of our life, of the life of my community. During these past 30 years, my sister Amanda Vega established the Rose Neighborhood Association. During this time, she applied for a grant in which $250,000 created new walk paths, 2 ramadas, water, and electricity. During this time, my father was the president of the Rose Neighborhood Association for over 10 years. The quality of life in our community continue with further improvements of a brand new bridge and a children's playground. As a result of all this work of our family, I have collected over 68 signatures to position and remove the name of Rodeo Wash Park to be changed to the Enrique M. Vega Memorial Park. I would like to have these signatures added to the archive, and I would like City of Tucson Parks and Recreation to assist me with this goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vega. City Manager, could we have park staff follow up with Mr. Enrique on the process for renaming a park, please?
Happy to do so, Mayor.
All right, and my condolences to you, Henry. So next we have Judy Bohm, and after Judy, we have Topaz Cervellon.
Hi, my name is Judy Boehm. I'm here because of the closing of the Armory Park Senior Centers on Saturdays, which ended the ballroom dancers. Last monsoon, not this one, but the one before, we had the whole floor was ruined, and it took a year to get it fixed, and it was beautiful, and we were very happy. And so we invited most of you to the grand opening celebration, which was third Saturday of last month, and nobody came, but what's worse is not even a week later, we not even a week later, we were told that the Armory is closing on Saturdays. We're old people trying to dance, and we've been there for 22 years. Well, I've been there for 22 years. Actually, it's been going on since the Armory began. The ballroom dancers in the beautiful new best ballroom in town, and now it's closed on Saturdays. So we are devastated. And it's not just us. There is the Tucson Philharmonic Youth Orchestra that keeps their instruments there, and they practice every Saturday. And their conductor is Suzanne Baton, but she is so stressed and busy right now because they are going to be performing in Carnegie Hall, New York, this coming up. I think it's in 2 weeks. And so she wants to come down here also. We'll probably come down in December to one of your meetings and ask you again to maybe open up the park, even if it's for a half a day. We could probably do our dancing and let the students, the high school students that are, serious musicians, they go on to get into the real Philharmonic. And I just wanted to say that we really want you to try to open it, and it's a simple fix. Just open the armory on Saturdays. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Topaz, and after Topaz, we have Hunter.
Madam Vice Mayor and members of the City Council, my name is Topaz Cervellon, and I come on this pulpit because it's the least I can do for the 3 friends that I lost on October 30th. Sophia Trotel wholeheartedly believed in my dreams. Together at Camp Student Radio, we revived an old zine project that had been out of print for 12 years. Through working with her, I saw not only her creativity, but also her deep love for others. She was sunshine incarnate. Any of these people would agree. The last messages I shared with Sophia were to tell her how proud I was of her accomplishments, how excited I was to plan our trip to the Museum of Art, and to wish her a happy birthday. She turned 21 just a couple weeks ago. Her boyfriend, Josiah Santos, always made me laugh, whether it was his improv at Charles Darwin Experience or simply his bright demeanor. He lit up every room he entered, especially beside Sophia. I promised them that I would be the one to give the funniest toast at their future wedding. When Sophia's roommate Katia needed a break from her job, she'd walk across the street to the Starbucks on University where I would make her a drink while catching up on the latest weird customer story. Council, I really miss my friends. I want to use this platform not only to call for the courts to seek justice for my friends to the fullest extent of the law, but also to remind everyone when Tucson was named one of the deadliest cities for pedestrians this past May, statistics like this don't exist in a vacuum. There's people behind these statistics. Just this month alone, there have been several pedestrian deaths across Tucson, from high school students to the elderly. Last month, a UAPD officer on a motorcycle was struck at the same intersection where my friends passed. I personally witnessed a 3-car pileup at that intersection last year. The crosswalk sign in the median has been hit so many times that the only thing proving it was ever there is a concrete base. I thank our Department of Transportation for taking the initiative to put up a hawk light at 2nd and Euclid, but it shouldn't have taken this to do so. We have research-backed ways to light up our streets while also protecting our beautiful night skies. I know there are current and future members of this council that believe in safer streets for all. We need better infrastructure that will keep us safe. It shouldn't have taken this incident to realize it. Thank you.
Thank you, Topaz. We have Hunter, and after Hunter, we have Adam Milner.
Hello, Council and Mayor. My name is Hunter Goenkoff, a Ward 3 resident. I've lived in Tucson for 16 years and commuted by bicycle for the entirety of that time. Despite the improvements for cycling and pedestrians, I have never felt more unsafe navigating our streets. Tucson is the 2nd deadliest city for pedestrians and cyclists. My question to you is, how many more have to die? We need more than just painted stripes. We need real tangible infrastructure. We need lower speed limits, speed bumps. Our lives are more important than commute times. The reality of the moment is that our streets are more deadly than ever. People are more distracted while driving, thanks to cell phones. Oversized trucks, sports cars doing 60 and 30 mile per hour zones. The dangers go on, and pedestrians aren't protected by airbags or crumple zones. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for fast tracking the crosswalk on 2nd Street and Euclid, but I want to challenge you to go further. Implement lower speed limits, especially in high traffic foot zones. Build protected bike lanes. Euclid doesn't even have a regular bike lane. Implement speed bumps. We need safety over suspension. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I hope the next time we meet, it isn't under tragic circumstances.
Thank you, Hunter. We have Adam, and after Adam, we have Pravi.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Adam Milner. I'm a Ward 6 resident. Just encouraged by all the participation that came here tonight. I'm actually following up on a letter I sent to Mayor and Council and the city manager back in October about a community development project here in downtown Tucson. It's undersigned by residents from all wards in the city of Tucson. I'll just begin by reading portions of the letter. Some challenges offer tremendous opportunities. The unfortunate condition of the aging Valdez Library has already catalyzed the library's move to the historic Wells Fargo building. This smart move opens up a complementary and impactful opportunity to re-envision Jacome Plaza. We, the undersigned residents of the city of Tucson, encourage the city to work with the community to create a vision for Jacome Plaza that transforms it into the marquee central public space in Tucson by removing the current library building and redesigning the space into a plaza that invokes the traditional style originally present in Tucson. A hopeful reimagining of the space would serve both as an homage to Tucson's multicultural essence and Mexican heritage while being a full-throated vote of confidence in our future. An inclusive community process would study the pros and cons of removing the current building. Tucson can again have a great gathering space like those across the United States, the rest of the Americas, and across the world. In the 1800s, the Tucson Plaza existed just west of San Agustin Cathedral. A bold investment in a plaza project would build on the gains realized by major downtown parking community projects, including the award-winning restoration of the Pima County Courthouse and Activate El Presidio. These are investments to be proud of. We believe a central plaza could offer complementary experiences aimed at serving as an antidote to the feelings of isolation and loneliness many of us are feeling. The plaza could connect the vibrant quarters of downtown with shade, seating, and event space. If done well, it could enhance the current mix of small businesses and creative energy bookended by the new library and the courthouse. This hub for people watching and multi-generational activity could also enhance landmark community events like Tucson Meet Yourself. Let's build on the momentum and take advantage of the opportunity presented by the imposing $86 million maintenance liability on the current building. A redevelopment of a portion of the site, including potential public-private partnerships to provide a degree of revenue generation for the city, could also be considered. Under this scenario, the remaining public plaza space should be reimagined. The very worst thing that could happen would be for a vacant and deteriorating public building at the very center of our city. The signatories below represent no organization, but rather speak as a collection of individuals who care about our community. Together, we respectfully request your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. We have Pravi. And after Pravi, we have Logan Havens. Yeah. Oh, he had to leave? Okay. All right, so Logan Havens, and after Logan, we will have Elizabeth.
My name is Logan Havens. I'm an unpaid speaker here speaking for myself, and I came to somewhat echo what the students are saying. This has been a tragedy, and I appreciate so many people showing up to support this. And I wanted to speak to my experience over the past 10 years of showing up to these meetings, meetings for roadway redesigns or meetings for different projects in the cities. And some of them have included things like we pleaded during Downtown Links not to cut the bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure while maintaining the automobile funding. The platform park was reduced and the bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure was reduced while the automobile was maintained. With the 6th Avenue bicycle protected lane, we almost lost that project because a neighbor was upset. They would have to walk 20 feet further to their car. Because of a tree planting and green stormwater infrastructure. And when I was at the 22nd Street Bridge redevelopment, they were going to make us cross several layers of traffic to get to a path. And in all these situations, we're looking now at RTA Next, which just released new plans for 1st Avenue Euclid, curves and turns into 1st Avenue north of Grant. And on that roadway, we do have some protected sections. However, at the most vulnerable and at the largest intersections, we leave pedestrians and bicyclists unprotected. Every one of these meetings, when we show up, we are told that the convenience of the car or the cost of the infrastructure is too expensive for the project. And we watch dollars get stripped away from bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure, and then we watch hundreds of people die over these years that I've been here. And so it's incredibly sad to watch death after death, and then to know that we're desensitized to the point that in a few months, when we're at that First Avenue meeting, we're going to forget these people that died, and we're going to choose to prioritize 30 seconds more efficiency at that intersection, or $1 million. I don't know what it is. This whole time we're saying we do not have money, we do not have the space. At the same time, we plow through our city to widen Broadway or grant or add downtown links. We spend $600 million on a roadway on the I-10 widening around the Keno Sports Complex, and we choose not to put that money into preserving the lives of these individuals. So in a few months, I will be at this next meeting, and I will be saying, no, we need to protect this, and I want your support with that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Logan. Elizabeth, and after Elizabeth, we have Nathaniel.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth. I am a student and researcher at the University of Arizona, and I'm speaking on the resolution on the groundwater contamination. In 2023, I, along with several other students working with Dr. Daniel Sullivan at the University of Arizona, conducted a door-to-door survey of nearly 400 Tucson residents. We found that people residing in the South Side Tucson who had lived there since the time before the Superfund site was declared, as well as their children, had the highest levels of post-traumatic stress related to the contamination and the highest rates of depression compared to any other groups in our study. 1 in 3 people who had been historically exposed to contamination in our sample still suffer from what might be clinically relevant levels of post-traumatic stress about this issue. Furthermore, people in this group self-reported the highest levels of cancer, autoimmune diseases, and birth defects in our sample. Having worked and lived in the South Side for several years now, what I frequently hear from those active on this issue is that the city has done a good job over the last few decades addressing the groundwater contamination itself. But in this largely lower income part of Tucson, even the fortunate people who have health insurance struggle to get appointments at affordable clinics, find a primary care provider, experience long wait times, voice their concerns about inflexible appointment times, and struggle to cover the copays for essential treatments. Many residents share that the longer we wait for a solution to their healthcare needs, the more at risk they are of being failed by the systems that were supposed to keep them safe and healthy. Additionally, we see this as an issue that calls for immediate action before it is too late. The resolution that has been put forward by the Human Relations Commission based on community input reaffirms this goal and commends the city and partner organizations for all that have done to clean our water. But the resolution also states that this alone is not enough. As people of Southside Tucson know, you can't treat the environment without treating the people and vice versa. We appreciate the support we've received on this resolution, and we are grateful for the advice and encouragement to work with the Pima County Board of Supervisors to address the public health component of the resolution, as well as connecting us to the resolution to policies in Plan Tucson. We appreciate your commitment in protecting not only the contaminated water of Tucson, but the people whose lives have been changed by it. I thank the Ward 1 and Ward 5 council members for bringing this resolution forward, and I thank you very much for moving forward with this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, we have our last 3 speaker cards, so it'll be Nathaniel, Desi, and then Florence Johnson. Thank you.
Hello, Council. Thank you for hearing me today. And before I say anything, I just want to give my condolences to everybody. It's horrible, preventable tragedy. We shouldn't be asking for safe roads. We should just be there. I came to talk today about the flock contract and the flock surveillance cameras to echo a lot of the sentiments that we've already heard about how dangerous they are. I'm not going to talk at length about the specifics, the horrible stories of officers abusing flock to hunt people down, or AI going rogue and accusing people of crimes they didn't commit. Instead, I just want to ask everybody, we got a lot of students here in the house today. Show of hands,
if you ever read the book 1984 by George Orwell, right? Pretty much everybody. It's part of your required reading when you go to school. It's an important caution. It's a cautionary tale that instructs us to not give unlimited power, surveillance to fascist states. I think it goes without saying that if you passed your book report, when you wrote your 1984 book report, you should be able to see the writing on the wall right now. I'm going to leave this because it's the 5th of November, right? Remember, with a quote from Alan Moore from V for Vendetta, a story about a surveillance state. And where once you had the freedom to object, to think and speak as you saw fit, you now have censors and systems of surveillance coercing you into conformity and soliciting your submission. Please don't let them coerce you into conformity. Do not let them solicit you into submission. Cancel this contract with Flock.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Desi? Is Desi here? All right. Florence Johnson, and that'll be our last speaker.
Hi, my name is Florence Johnson, and I'm a resident of Ward 6. And I'm here to thank you for this opportunity to speak to you tonight. I understand that public safety must be a priority for this council and the Tucson Police Department, as well as the residents of this city. My condolences to the students and families who have lost their loved ones. On 10/29/25, Arizona Luminaria reported, along with other independent media, that the Tucson Police Department purchased cobweb surveillance software and has been using it for some time to profile and analyze people participating in some Tucson events. Cobweb surveillance software is produced by an Israeli company. It was purchased with funds earmarked for border enforcement by the Tucson Police Department, but I don't know if it was purchased with knowledge of the city council, and so that's one of my questions to you. I have several other questions. How and when is border security the responsibility of the Tucson Police Department? Per the U.S. Constitution, border security is a federal enforcement responsibility. Reporters found cobweb surveillance software was used to access social media accounts and contacts of people attending a Harris Waltz political rally, people like me. Most attendees were U.S. citizens engaged in political speech and lawful assembly, not people engaged in criminal enterprises, insurrection, foreign terrorism, or serving as foreign agents. So my questions are, who has and had access to the data and the analysis of these attendees, not just the Tucson police? And do federal agents still have access to this cobweb data? And what is the Tucson Police Department doing about this? And what is the City Council doing about this? Who determined it is legal to use this software on residents of Tucson and surrounding areas? And who advised them that it was legal to use this on residents engaging in lawful assembly and speech? And is this a violation of attendees' rights to privacy and protection from unreasonable search and seizure? Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to take an opportunity to thank everybody who showed up or called to the audience, and especially, again, our student, U of A student body here. And again, I'm sorry for your loss, and it's unacceptable. Thank you. Item 7,
Consent agenda items A through K.
reports from the city manager on the consent agenda are received into and made part of the record. Ms. Clerk, you're requested to read the consent agenda.
Item A is approval of minutes. Item B is establishing the mayor and council 2026 meeting schedule. Item C is amendment number 8 to intergovernmental agreement, IGA, for transportation funding between the city of Tucson and the Regional Transportation Authority of Pima County, RTA, for the Downtown Links project. Item D is authority to acquire right-of-way for the Grant Road, Fremont Avenue to Sparkman Boulevard Improvement Project, Phase 5 and 6. Item E is a license agreement for use of the public right-of-way, WANRAC LLC E-rate project. Item F is a final plat for TD DIB 0125-00005, La Escalera, Phase 3, Lots 1 through 215 in common areas A and B. Item G is an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Tucson and Pima County for acceptance of a $1 million in gap funding to support the preservation and renovation of Tucson House. Item H is a labor agreement with the Tucson Police Officers Association, TPOA. Item I is amendment number 2 to the intergovernmental agreement, IGA, awarding the city's Community Safety, Health, and Wellness Program funding from the Arizona Healthcare Cost Containment System Access State Opioid Response 4 FY26 Grant Program. Item J is an amendment of the intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Healthcare Cost Containment Administration Access in the City of Tucson to allow the city to provide funding to secure federal matching funds for supplemental payments for the support of the Access to Professional Service Initiative, APSI, at Tucson Medical Center, TMC, for the period October 1, 2025 through September 30th, 2026. Item K is amending the 2025 Mayor and Council meeting schedule.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. Dahl?
Aye.
Mr. Cunningham?
Aye.
Mrs. Lee?
Aye.
Nick Sulik? Mayor Pro Tempore Santa Cruz?
Aye. The items on the consent agenda are approved by a vote of 6-0. Item 8,
Mayor and council consideration of a resolution affirming the city's commitment to address groundwater contamination on Tucson's south side.
City Manager's Communication Number 356 dated November 5th is received into and made part of the record. Ms. Clerk, you're requested to read Resolution 24034 by number and title only.
Resolution number 24034 relating to environmental services and human relations, authorizing and approving a resolution to support the Human Relations Commission recommendations to address groundwater contamination on Tucson's south side and declaring an emergency.
What is the council's pleasure?
Mayor Santa Cruz, sorry, I'd like to pass and adopt Resolution 24034.
Second.
Do we have a discussion? Councilmember Perez.
I'll just add, obviously we've touched on this item before, but I think it kind of speaks to a lot of the remarks that were made during calls to the audience around large corporations and the impact that they have here. I think that this resolution in talking about groundwater contamination is just one example of some of the earliest impacts of extractive development that have impacted our Southside community. And so again, I'm very thankful that you brought this forward and that we were able to partner in pushing this through, and really want to send our thanks to the Human Relations Commission and those that are here today and those that aren't able to join us for having put in the hard work. And also want to give our thanks to the University of Arizona and the resources and capacity that they lent in providing the research and findings that supported this work. So thank you all.
Thank you, Councilmember Perez. I also wanted to add that along with the resolution, there are 2 events that are connected to this. The Living with Injury exhibit opening Friday, November 14th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. at the Tucson Museum of Art. And then the second event is the TCE Memorial Mural and Healing Ceremony, Saturday, December 13th from 2 to 5 at Mission Manor Park, which will feature a blessing by Tohono O'odham members. Our office will be also there to support and and have an opportunity to bring the community together. So again, I want to thank my colleagues for your consideration. And even though we weren't the ones responsible for creating this harm, we hold the responsibility to address the impact that this had on our South Side community. So with that, if we don't have any further discussion, we will do roll call.
Mr. Pettis?
Aye.
Mixulic?
Aye.
Mrs. Lee?
Aye.
Mr. Dahl?
Aye.
Mr. Cunningham?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tempore Santa Cruz?
Aye. Resolution 24034 passes by a vote of 6-0. Item 9.
Public hearing, TP MCA 0925-00001, appeal of PDSD Director's decision for individual parking plan, Congress Apartments, 701 West Congress Street, C3 zone.
City managers, communication number 352 and 348 dated November 5th are received into and made part of the record. This is a time and place legally advertised for a public hearing on an appeal of the Planning and Development Services Department Director's decision dated August 28, 2025 for individual parking plan, IPP, case TP MOD 0725000029